Hello people who cannot sit at home, thank you so much for being here. This video is the third video in the series dedicated to the launch of this book. So this is free or almost free Ontario Destinations. This book is out on Amazon and there's also a digital version on Etsy, and I'm gonna link everything down below. And the whole point of this book is really to show you all of the amazing places that are free or nearly free in Ontario. This video specifically is going to be about, in the middle there is 88 one location trips. This is going to be 25, very similar to what's here, but I'm trying my hardest to give you something new, something different than what's in the book. So a lot of these are not in the book. I'm going to go through different sections of Ontario. So I'm going to start with kind of central, meaning downtown, and then I'm going to go east, north, west, and south. Okay, so let's begin with the center, meaning downtown Toronto. And one of the newest places in downtown right now is The Well. It opened in late 2023 and it has been opening stores and shops all throughout this year. Over here we're at the newly opened Prince Street Pizza. This is, as I understand, New York chain. When you walk in over there, you will see different cuts of pizza. They have slices, but they're mainly known for their squares. They're sort of in between the Chicago's deep dish and just like a thin pizza, so it has a bit of a thickness. I got 2 slices, to be completely honest. I don't remember the names of them. I really did enjoy them, but they were on a bit of a spicy side. Over here is us exploring Indigo. It's a huge store. I actually haven't been to Indigo for a while. And the thing about the store is it's definitely not a bookstore anymore, at least not this location. It has literally everything. It has a really cool kids section. There's even like a play area and just lots of home decor things. Definitely worth checking out. And of course, The Well has a number of higher end stores such as home decor stores, and over here is the beautiful perfumery. The name of this place is Etiquette Boutique and Spa. I have talked to the representative at the store and she mentioned that all of these are kind of houses. Most of them are from Europe, of perfume houses essentially, and the smells of these perfumes are amazing. If you're in the market for an amazing perfume, you have to go here. Prices are different, but definitely on the higher end. The second free place to check out in the kind of center of Toronto is the Sugar Beach, or the whole of Harbourfront. Sugar Beach has a special place in my heart. I used to have lunches here when I was working in the area. It's really adorable. There's lots of places to sit. These pink umbrellas are really cute. And then you have the water, you have the Lake Ontario, and you also have a bit of a downtown over there. Really nice place. Nearby there is a fancy Tim Hortons, as I call it. We were at the very end of the day, so please don't judge the very lack of things, but what they did have is matcha latte to be exact. I decided to try it out. Definitely very unique for Tim Hortons to have matcha. That's not usually on the menu, and this location actually has a number of really unique things. By the way, I love the bathroom signs over there, very Canadian. And here is the matcha. So at first what I did is I kind of just put the straw and I was drinking it, and I was like, all I taste is just cream. I'm not tasting any matcha. And then I was like, well, duh, you need to mix it. So over here I finally mixed it and it's nice. It's not very matcha. It doesn't have the typical matcha bitterness. I think because I didn't ask for less sugar. Maybe that's my fault. It's a good drink, but I just wish there was more matcha in it. And over here I'm just showing you some of the area of the harborfront. This is all in the area of Sugar Beach. Lots of new condos being built. I enjoy walking around and checking out the new buildings. And of course, Lake Ontario. So the third place that is totally free to check out is the Allan Gardens. I have always loved this greenhouse. Lots of items. They have over there turtles. They have a really beautiful collection of orchids. And in general, it's a fairly large greenhouse. It's perfect to go any time of the year, especially, of course, in the colder months. They have this beautiful pond with lots of koi fish. Currently, they are under renovations, but actually, both left and right sides of the greenhouse are open. You just need to kind of walk in them separately. Here's the other side. You just have to go around. This side has more of the succulent desert feel. Of course, do not touch anything. I've seen people go on dates here. I've seen people read in here. It's a definitely very lovely place to check out and completely for free. So the next location, this is actually almost free. So this is Ward's Island. I think it's a very cool place that you need to go. Everybody goes to Center Island. I suggest going to Ward's Island. It has a number of cottages. It has more of a community feel. Lots of cats. It's always a highlight for me. And of course, the view, the Toronto skyline view is absolutely amazing. And then you can walk to the Center Island if you want to and, do all of the Center Island things. The fee to get onto the ferry, I think, is under $10. So it's definitely not extremely expensive. So the next awesome free destination is Bluffs Park. The only caveat is that the parking in the summer is paid, but in the winter or off season essentially, it is free. More often than not, I find myself going to Bluffs Park in the off season, meaning not in the summer, because I find in the summer it's a little too crowded for me. And I think it's actually gorgeous, like anytime, but not the summer. The water is beautiful. I love whenever there's ice on the water. I think it's quite the spectacle. There's a fairly large park that you can walk around. You can, of course, look at the cliffs. Or my favorite over here, there is a Bluffs restaurant. They do actually an amazing buffet brunch during the weekends. And when you kind of go to the restaurant, you can go on the second level and you see these little houses, which in my opinion are so adorable. I know some people live in them throughout the whole year, and some people just live in them in the summer. And on the other side, there's a beautiful marina. Definitely love visiting this place. Now we're gonna head over to the east, and the very first free stop is the Guild Park. Love this park, have been going there for years, and this park actually has a lot of history. So a very large estate was built here in 1914 that later on was sold, and the new owners, Rosa and Spencer Clark, they actually built an art center here that got really renowned for its workshops and studios and galleries. But during the World War II, it actually became a rehabilitation center for the wounded soldiers, where they could actually do some arts during their recovery process, which I thought was fascinating. After the Second World War, the Clarks, they sort of collected different items from the downtown Toronto, different architectural artifacts, and instead of them being thrown out, they brought it to this property. And I think all of these beautiful pieces of old architecture look so gorgeous and amazing. I'm so glad that they did that. I adore Guild Park. I think it's so beautiful. It's definitely very popular, especially during the summer months. You will see lots of weddings here. Sometimes it's actually quite hard to take a picture, but definitely go here if you haven't been. But I enjoy going here every year. So we are going further east, and over here we have the Wutai Shan Buddhist garden. This is located, I would say, about an hour and 20 minutes east of Toronto. This is kind of close to Lindsay or Peterborough, and it's newly opened and it is gorgeous. I did a whole separate video about this because there is definitely a lot to unpack here. It's a huge area, totally free to enter right now. There will be a charge eventually. Such a beautiful space. There's a number of temples that you can go inside, and there's also a large area of like the garden where there's a lot of sculptures and just beautiful Buddhas and gods and goddesses. They definitely did an amazing job. I'm gonna link the full video down below, but this video is actually me going there second time in a span of like 2 weeks. They actually had a couple of new things, like they had this beautiful bath over here, and they had actually a number of, I'm guessing, monks chanting specific kind of rhythms. That was very interesting to experience. I was not allowed to film that part. Over here you can spin these cool cylinders and just wander around the beautiful garden. They are open from 9 to 6 pretty much every day. Other than Tuesdays and Wednesdays, they are closed those days. And of course, to get here, you will need a car. And when you're in here, you will need a car to drive from one place to the next. But once you arrive at a certain location, you can get out of the car and kind of wander around. Some of the areas are not fully finished, that is definitely to come, but majority is already very impressive. You can definitely already go, and I am sure you will enjoy this. Now let's continue heading east, and we're going to the Riverview Park and Zoo. This is located in Peterborough, which is about an hour and a half east of Toronto, and it's a completely free zoo and actually really awesome park for like kids to play, like lots of playing areas. However, my favorite thing about the zoo is the otters over here. So there's this cool kind of like pool where they swim, and there's also feedings. They get fed, I think, 2 or 3 times a day. I know for a fact there's feedings at 1:30 and I think at 4 o'clock, but it's best to check with the reception when you get to the zoo. And they definitely get a lot of people checking them out. There's lots of animals in the zoo. One of my favorites are camels over here. I think they were just really hot and just kind of scratching each other. It was pretty funny to see. These guys are so adorable. I don't remember the name of it. Somebody write it down below. There's also a bunch of goats. I remember there was a reindeer. I think there is a buffalo. Here are alpacas. I'm alpaca obsessed. I think they're so cute. And here's the play area. It's not open right now because this is very early in the summer, but it's actually a really fun play area as well. Next, heading further, this is in Prince Edward County. It is the Oeno Gallery, and it's an outdoor gallery, which is, in my opinion, very unique and very unusual. As I understand, you can also buy most of these artworks if you wish, but you can also just simply walk around and enjoy it. In the same area is Huff's Estate. You can have a glass of wine if you would like to. It's a really beautiful area. Whenever we are here, we like to discuss the artworks that we are seeing. Just makes for a really fun afternoon. Now we're switching gears and we're heading north. Castle Antiques and Cafe is the first one I would like to start with. They are already in Haliburton, so this is about, I'd say, 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and a bit from Toronto. What I love about this place is that it's a unique combination of an antique store together with a really great cafe. And cafe has really lots of yummy things. Lots of places to sit and just take it in, all of the cool atmosphere. Like, this is a table that they have. You can of course purchase all of the vintage items, and definitely their baked goods are really good. Further up north is the Screaming Heads. This is a very unique park, free to enter, and you get to experience these insanely cool sculptures that kind of look like they're screaming. Right next to the parking, there's actually an area that has a lot of these sculptures, about 20 of them, all in the same place. So you can, as you park, you can just go here and check it out, or you can spend a whole, easy 2 hours and checking out the whole property. Make sure to wear bug spray and of course sunscreen, because it's a very beautiful and pretty huge area. Next, let's head to North Bay. This is Heritage Railway and Carousel Company, and each ride is $2. This is what we're going to be riding, this train. It's of course for kids, but it also is fine if you're an adult. And if you would like to feel like a kid, you can also take this ride. Here, me and my family just went for a cool train ride. It is not very long. It's about, I'd say about 15 minutes. They go one direction and they kind of turn around and return. You can see the Lake Nipissing over there. And just lots of cute little things for kids to check out. And at the end of the ride, you see this kind of miniature houses, miniature garages. Definitely so much fun to check out. And right next to the trains, you will see carousels. Actually, there are two. There's a bigger one, and then there's a smaller one that's more about Canadian animals. This one, I think, is just kind of all animals, and horsey is more of a classical. This is also $2 to ride, lots of fun. We just sat in this cart that kind of swayed back and forth, but you can also, of course, go on a horsey. And here's the smaller carousel, and it's all about Canadian animals. So you have the raccoon, you have the moose, beavers, skunk over there. I think it's such a beautiful piece of Canadian history, and it's only $2 per ride, which makes it very affordable and a lot of fun. So heading further north is Sudbury. This is Big Nickel. Over there, my brother found an actual nickel, put it in his eye, and was just kind of comparing it. Current nickel doesn't have the edges, it's more of a round. So this is more of a historic nickel that was before. Really beautiful sculpture, definitely another piece of Canadian history. And when you're in Sudbury, make sure to check out Bell Park. To me, this park reminded me so much of Vancouver. I'm not even sure why. I think it's just kind of similar feel. There's a bit of hills and rocks, but it's just in general very beautiful. You can climb the rock over there on the other side. The Science North is also behind the rocks over there in Science North. Even though that is a paid museum, it's actually world-class science center, really amazing science center. If you can, definitely check out Science North. Now let's go to west, and we're heading kind of back to the center, so we're coming from Toronto. Danville Park, this is located in Mississauga. It's not really far from Toronto, I'd say about maybe 20 minutes, and not a lot of people know about this, but it's just a cool park with a statue of this metal paper plane and lots of markings, kind of like airport markings. It's fun for kids and adults, completely free, and you get to check out the airplanes from this point because it's sort of across from the Pearson Airport. Plenty of information about the planes, and the planes you definitely do see. They are not like really close, but they do go through that area, so with a good camera you will definitely see lots of planes and of course hear them. So another thing you should check out is Swimply. So what this is a pool rental app, essentially Airbnb for pool rentals. And I would consider this almost free because if you use my link down below, you will get a $50 credit to check one of these pools out. And I will also get actually the $50 to check another pool out. And because many of these pools are already about from $50 to $70, this makes it a fairly good deal because you only have to pay sometimes just 10 to 20 bucks. You open it either desktop or on the app. You set your preference in terms of how much you want to spend. You rent it most of the time for an hour. Sometimes if you want to rent it for an hour and a half or 2 hours. If you select under, let's say, $50, or over here I'm selecting under $40, you will see there's a bunch of really cool pools. Use my link. It will be definitely a lot of fun. This specific pool is only 40 bucks an hour and it is beautiful. Perfect thing to do in the summer. There's lots of Swimply pools, specifically in the west end of the city. Definitely check it out. So the next free spot you need to check out on the west side of the city from Toronto, west of Toronto, is the Arboretum of University of Guelph. It is a very large park, essentially. The parking is free, the entrance is free. Over here I'm showing you the Japanese garden portion of it, but they almost have like chunks. So they have the Japanese garden, then they have a number of different areas, like there's a water fountain area. There's another area I'm going to show you in a second that has a lot of lupins. Very interesting how it's arranged. And then there is just the actual park with lots and lots of different trees. When you're walking around, make sure to notice all of the signs under the trees because Arboretum is essentially kind of like the museum of trees, and learn about them because all of them are so very unique. I remember at one point we stumbled upon like tropical plants, almost like palm trees, and it was very shocking to me how they grow in Canada. Definitely a very fascinating place that you need to check out. Heading even further west, we have the Blue Water Bridge. This is essentially Sarnia, and I love this, first of all, because of the color of the water. It is so bright turquoise, absolutely gorgeous. The park is, of course, free to walk around. It's kind of under the bridge. And the thing about this park is that whenever the big ships go under the bridge, they actually honk, which is pretty fun to witness. And right next to Blue Water Bridge, there is Kanatara Beach, which is an amazing, also free beach that you need to check out when in the area. And about 20 minutes from Sarnia, there is Greenhill Gardens Wilksport line, which is a really long name for essentially a really beautiful park. First of all, just the park itself is gorgeous, but the thing about it and the highlight of it, at least to me, was that it has a whole field of lotuses. We were here at the end of July, so I do not know if there's much happening earlier on in the season because maybe the flowers only blossom in July. But definitely if you do arrive in July, you will get to see absolutely unique thing that I have not seen anywhere in Ontario, a whole field of gorgeous lotuses. So now let's go south. The first place I have to note is the Gage Park greenhouses. Absolutely in love with this greenhouse. I think this is my favorite greenhouse in Ontario. Recently renovated with lots of different plants that are very unique. Make sure to read the names, the signs of the plants. And just in general, very beautiful space. There's like 2 little ponds. The ponds have the fish. Free to enter. The only little thing about the space is that sometimes they do have private events, so it's always best to check the website to make sure that they are open. So over here they have a whole tree of papaya fruit, and they also have a fig tree, and they also have like this really cool palm lipstick where the trunk of it is really bright red. And of course this is a perfect place to take some gorgeous photos. So the next place heading south is Tim Hortons Mini Museum. I did not know that this actually existed. So this is the very first Tim Hortons that ever opened. This is in Hamilton, and it opened in 1964. The main floor is still Tim Hortons, but the second floor has a bit of a mini museum. So that's where we're gonna go right now. They have a little setup over there of how the first Tim Hortons looked like and the kind of sweets they used to serve. Definitely much different than what we have right now. Look at that butterfly. It looked almost more eclair and cake-like versus donuts, so I can definitely see like the shift that slowly happened, though Timbits were still a thing back when I guess Tim Hortons opened, so that's great. And then you have the bit of a museum. First I checked out all of the Roll Up the Rim. I actually kind of really loved Roll Up the Rim. I don't know why they took it away. I like the whole like experience of rolling the cup. It's very exciting. So over here are the cups from different years. And then the museum takes you from the 70s to 80s to 90s to the 2000s and shows you like different uniforms. I thought it was so adorable that one of the first uniforms had like a really adorable bonnet. Things have definitely changed. And over here is the future Tim Hortons and how the future uniform will look like. So very close to the Tim Hortons Museum is the Battlefield House Museum. My favorite part about it is this gorgeous tower and kind of the walk up to it. It's free to enter and the parking is free. The hours are a bit limited because I think it's only from 12 to about 4 o'clock, so just make sure on Google Maps what time it's opened. But it's a really gorgeous area that you can kind of roam around, take some photos, and learn a bit about the history. So the next really cool free destination south of Toronto, this is St. Catharines Museum. And my favorite part about this is actually this platform outside. So by the way, it's free parking and the platform is also free, as I mentioned. And you go up onto this platform and you get to see the ships pass by in the canal. So entertaining, perfect for kids, but to be honest, I enjoyed it myself so much. There's usually a person on the platform that tells you when the next ship is coming. So that's pretty great how they have somebody out there. And if they're not out there, go inside the museum and they will tell you. Another way to find out when the ships are coming, I think they usually post it on their Facebook page of the St. Catharines Museum, usually daily in the morning, so check that out as well. But most of the time, if you show up there, especially on a weekend, you will see something. You will see at least a few boats go through it, especially in the summer. And you can definitely spend a couple hours here. Fort Mississauga is in Niagara-on-the-Lake. This place I did not even know existed up until last year, and I found it through different blogs. It's this really cool fort that's kind of behind the golf club, the Niagara-on-the-Lake Golf Club. Though it's not part of the golf club, though you have to go kind of sort of through it. So free to enter, and you have this fort that is mainly closed, but it's really cool to check it out and all of the passageways that it has. Over there, there's a really beautiful observation deck, and across from it, you will see the United States. And also, this is just a really great view of Lake Ontario. And another cool thing about being here, there's a really beautiful boardwalk. And when you walk the length of it, you will end up yet again facing Lake Ontario. And by the way, over here you can still continue hiking. There's a really long hiking path. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know if there are any other free destinations that you enjoyed that I should check out. And of course, please make sure to check out the free or almost free Ontario Destinations book, and the link is going to be down below. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.